Let's now turn to our conversation on the show this evening. Preparations are in top gear for the 16th November off-cycle governorship election in Ondo State. And APC has commenced the sale of nomination and expression of interest forms as well as delegate forms. As the date draws near, political parties are intensifying preparations as aspirants traverse the nook and cranny of the Sunshine State, consulting with stakeholders and party faithful in a bid to secure support for their aspiration. One of them is a national vice chairman southwest of the APC, who is former secretary to the state government, a former attorney general and commissioner for justice in the state, Honorable Isaac Kekemeke. He joins us live from Akure. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you as well. So you're contesting in this primary as national vice chairman southwest of the APC. How does it work? Does that not give you an undue advantage politically over the other aspirants?
No, not at all. Not at all. We have the governor of the state contesting. I am contesting, and there are people, senators contesting, members of the National Assembly contesting. Everybody is contesting. So I can assure you that the leadership of a party has the capacity to provide a level playing ground for everyone. So that you hold one office or the other does not confer any extraordinary advantage for you.
So the party constitution allows you to run even as national vice chairman, right?
I'm running lawfully, having fulfilled all that I need to fulfill to run as vice chairman.
Has the APC decided yet on the mode of election for this primary?
The party intends to do so shortly after conferring or meeting with the stakeholders. And that's the practice of the party. The party listens to the overwhelming view of stakeholders to come to a conclusion as to the mode of primary they will use for the elections. And that was what happened in Edo when they had to call stakeholders. And when the stakeholders agreed that that was the mode they preferred, the party usually adopts such.
Let's talk about your expectations. What would you consider a free and fair primary later on this month in Ondo?
Well, I expect that everybody will be given a chance. I expect that the process will be transparent. Individuals are allowed to obtain forms, and as of today, I think everybody is free and people have been obtaining their forms. I expect that the process will be very open and everyone will see that it's open and that the system is fair to all. And that's all that the party owes all of us. What I said before, and I still say this again, people must be very prepared to win, but those who are prepared to win must be prepared to lose too.
So, are you saying that if you don't get the ticket, you would support whoever emerges winner?
I'm a party man. I was the pioneer chairman of the party in Ondo, and I'm the national vice chairman of the party, Southwest. I have nowhere else to go. Once we run through the process, if I win, I expect that my colleagues will support me. And if any other person wins, I do support that one.
So about 18 of you...
The party is the more important thing.
About 18 aspirants won the ticket, and there's an incumbent governor who's also in the race. Why is there no automatic ticket for the governor?
Because our party constitution does not provide so.
But
and the right of individuals to aspire is guaranteed by both our party constitution and the constitution of the country. And no one can breach that right. So that's why people are free to contest, even though we have an incumbent government.
I like that. I like the fact that you said you're a party man. Do you agree that it will be unprecedented, to have an incumbent governor not win the primary election?
No, that's not true. We had that happen to Governor Ambode in Lagos. It's not something that's unprecedented. It's happened in many other places.
Yeah, well, you have come as far as Lagos. Lagos is far from Ondo. I was referring to Ondo State, actually.
Okay, you're referring to Ondo?
Yes.
We never had.
All right. So
But
the governor has spent just about, I think, 74 days in office. And some are saying that, according to some groups who possibly are loyal to the state governor, they believe he has exceeded the masses' expectation according to them. What's your opinion about how he's fared in the past 74 days as governor?
As a party leader and as one that is contesting the primaries against him, I'm very reluctant to comment on what happened in the last 75 days or so that he's been governor. One of the things I know is that I was one of those who spoke for him and who said that he had done nothing wrong to deserve impeachment. That was a fair thing to do at that time, and that was a fair thing to say at that time, and I did say so. But for some of us, it should be clear to many people that we ran against his governor and himself 4 years ago. I ran against Governor Akeredolu 4 years ago. At that time, he had not become deputy governor and didn't know that he was going to be governor. Our ambitions are intact, and we are running and selling ourselves to the people, irrespective of the intervening factor.
Well, I think we lost Honorable's audio. We'll work on that and get back to that conversation. Okay, so I lost your audio for a few seconds, but I guess you're back now. Can you hear me clearly? Honorable, can you hear me? Let's take a short break, and then when we return, we'll continue with this conversation. Stay with us, everyone.
Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teachers.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything.
If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet, sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Committee Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
National Vice Chairman, Southwest of the APC, former Secretary to the State Governor of Ondo State, is also former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Ondo, Isaac Kekemeke. Thank you so much for staying the course on the program. We're talking about, the fact that there's an incumbent in this race, and you mentioned that it is not in the laws of the APC to give automatic tickets. But where do you think the incumbent got it wrong to have as many as 18 aspirants who want a seat, particularly bigwigs like yourself? There are lawmakers who have, who some weeks ago wrote a letter to the president. There are quite a number of people who wants to wrestle the ticket away from him. As a journalist myself, I count it unusual because incumbents usually get the support of, the stakeholders in the party. Mr. Kekemeke, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. I said I was asking where you think the incumbent governor got it wrong, not to have gotten, the critical support needed from at least the 18 stakeholders of the APC who have now become aspirants in this primary election.
Well, I don't think that it was particularly wrong about anything. Like I was trying to explain to you, 4 years ago, even before he was picked as running mate to late Governor Akeredolu, a number of us contested against his principal. At that time, he was not deputy governor. Because after his principal won the primaries, that he did choose him or pick him as his running mate. And of course, after the victory that we all worked for, he became deputy governor. And a number of us have structures, a number of us have aspirations, a number of us have programs that we have prepared, to sell to the people of Ondo State before we lost Governor Akeredolu, unfortunately. What I am saying, which I think a number of people are saying, is that intervention is not compelling enough, to stop us from pursuing our aspirations.
What about the position of Mr. President? Because some have said, it matters who the president supports in this election. And that came up when he visited Ondo, on the condolence visit to the family of former Governor Akeredolu. How much influence would this have, on the decision of the teaming aspirants we've seen in the past days?
Basically, you know that the president is the president of a country and the leader of a party nationally. Coincidentally, the president is also from the Southwest zone and the leader of the party in the zone. So a lot of people will listen to the president. And most people in Ondo, because of the great respect they have for the president, are likely to be influenced by whatever they perceive as a body language or whatever they perceive as the disposition of the president. So the place of the president or what the president thinks is very important. It's important to a number, a great number, a large number of Ondo State politicians, particularly of the APC.
Some weeks ago, Bola Ilori was on this show and we were talking about a famous picture of him, the governor and the president in Ondo. I don't know if you were following the narrative behind it. Are you concerned about the fact that some people are already talking about their interpretation of Mr. President's body language?
Well, a lot of people can interpret. A lot of people can have pictures of the president. I have pictures of the president. As member of the National Working Committee, I've had opportunities to meet with the president in a number of places, and anyone can interpret those pictures. I think Mr. President is too big for anybody to speak for. If Mr. President wants to speak, at the appropriate time he will speak, and I think he will speak clearly and loudly.
So what if the president...
It's not a matter of conjectures,
yes.
It's not a matter of trying to interpret pictures. Mr. President is the president of all, and there are so many pictures of Mr. President with individuals.
What will you do if the president asks you to support another candidate in this election?
The president is my leader. I will really have no choice.
All right, so you're coming into this race with a rich experience. Pioneer Chairman NECO, former member of the State House of Assembly, former SSG, former Commissioner for Works, former State Chairman of the APC, former Attorney General. I can almost not believe that you've actually done all these roles. It's an addition when you talk about experience. But how do you respond to those who say this means you belong to the old order of politicians? The same way of doing things, like we've seen this leadership play out in the past years, and they are saying they need someone new.
I do not think that it's about age. I also do not think that it's about tribe. I don't think it's about religion. I don't think it's about any of those geographies. I think it's about who, the person, the vision, the mission, and the plans and programs for our people. In the developed democracy, nobody talks about age. Nobody talks about age. Nobody talks about the fact that you've been there. It's about who are you and what programs do you have. It's also about what you have done with every other office that you have held. I think these are the issues. It's not about, like I said, it's not about trial and error. It's not about the fact that you are young, so you are likely to succeed, or that you are old, so you are likely to fail. It's not about the fact that you have always been there, so you will fail, or you have never been there, so let's try you. No. It's about who is the right person, who has the right pedigree, and who has the programs, who do the people trust. I think those are the issues we must talk about.
So what really is nudging you? Because you seem to have done everything except being governor in Ondo State. Why do you want to be governor?
I want to be governor so that we can do things differently. I want to be governor so that we can do innovative governance. I want to be governor so that we can put critical thinking into government. I want to be governor so that a number of things that we didn't get right, we can get them right. I want to be governor to be able to join with others to create a prosperous and peaceful Ondo State where citizens will find work to do and live meaningfully and comfortably. I want to be governor so that we can recreate the past and improve on it. What I call the Ajashin Plus and the Agadu Plus Plus. It's about a vision, it's about a mission, and it's about a burning desire.
So when you say you want to do things differently,
yeah, I want to do things differently.
Yes, allow me to jump in. Your party has been in power for the past 7 to 8 years. Do you disagree with the way, your party has run Ondo in the past 7 to 8 years?
Our party has done its best, but what I said before and I'm saying now is that we can do better. And I think I'm positioned to do better than we have done in the past 7 years. But the APC government has done its best. There are a number of things we have done, but we can do better. There are a number of innovations we can bring in. That's what I'm talking about.
So there's a long list of big wigs like yourself here. There's the incumbent governor. There is Senator Jimo Ibrahim. I've spoken with the former finance commissioner on this show, Wale Akinterenwa. There's a 2-time governorship candidate, Olushola Oke, Olugbenga Edema, and Dr. Paul Akintelure was in the race until, we heard the shocking news of his death last week. May God bless his soul. Who do you consider the main contender here, as you prepare for the primary election? Who would you say, or who would you consider the contenders?
Let me be fairly modest here. The names that you have mentioned, they are all eminent, very eminent citizens of the state, and I agree that there is none of them that is not qualified to run for governor. But I can tell you confidently that I'm the candidate for the Ondo people. And I know only about myself, and they are the only one who can keep the state now at this time.
Well, like you're saying, you will beat them hands down any day, any time?
I'm the candidate of the Ondo people, and I'm the one chosen by God.
But as an incumbent governor, and as a politician yourself, you know the influence that the governor brings to bear.
He is governor already. He's governor already. Let him just let us try. Let's do something else.
Absolutely. So we're looking at an election later on this year. Let's talk about how you think your party is faring on the national level, because they say that also matters. For off-cycle governorship election like this. The president is now approaching perhaps his 10th month in office. How much impact do you think that will have on the chances of the APC in Ondo?
Well, nationally, we know that we are all challenged, but everyone that is objective and not just unnecessarily partisan knows that the president of our country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is doing everything right. and doing everything that it needs to do to reset Nigeria. What I did say before, I think on this program or somewhere, was that Nigeria was a country being driven on reverse gear, like a car driven on reverse gear. That reverse has been reversed, and then we have started to drive on gear one to move forward. The right decisions are being taken, and Nigeria is on the right direction to recover itself. So everything is being done, even though with some attendant pains. But I know that in a not too long distant future, Nigerians will appreciate the great job that the president is doing. When it comes to Ondo State, our party is very popular. And the truth of the matter, one of the reasons you have that litany of candidates is that anyone who gets our ticket becomes governor. We don't have opposition. The PDP is absent, is not strong. It's going to be a walkover. We are not threatened by it at all.
All right, time will tell. Time will tell, there are other parties like Labour Party and what have you also running in this election. But that's our time. We have to go now. Mr. Kekemeke, thank you so much for joining us. Your Isaac, does he have an S?
Yes, he does have an S because it's an English name, Isaacs.
So it's Isaacs Kekemeke. I've seen different versions of it. Thank you so much for talking to us. I've been speaking with the National Vice Chairman, Southwest of the APCs, also former SSG and Attorney General in Ondo State.